Hi and welcome back. Are you sitting comfortably? Good, because we need to have a serious talk about the tricky subject of media management. This project is currently using media stored on my main media drive. You can check the file location of any selected clip in the metadata panel, or by selecting List in the media pool and scrolling along to the file path column. And here's a pro tip if you want to find any media in your project that's stored in a specific file location. Just create a smart bin and set a rule that lists clips with a specific file path. That way you can instantly locate all the media stored on a specific drive, or even in a specific folder on a drive. You can manually clean up the files on your hard drive by copying them to a new location. Then you can relink the clips in your project to the files in that new location before deleting the files in the original location. Closing this project in Resolve, I'll switch to the Finder. And here are the source clips for my project on my media drive. I'll just copy the whole folder structure to a backup drive. Depending on the total size of the project media and the speed of your hard drives, this of course may take some time. Once the files have been copied, I can remove the original drive from the system and reopen the project in Resolve. All my media is offline because the clips are no longer available in their original file locations. But clicking the Relink Media button allows me to relink the files to the copied version of the media on the backup drive. Once the files are relinked, I can then reconnect the original drive and delete the files to free up the space for my next project. I'd always recommend copying the files and checking your project before deleting any original media, just in case you've missed something or there's a problem with the copied files. To prevent copying errors, you can use the clone tool in DaVinci Resolve to help you copy the file securely. I've already covered this tool previously, so I've included a link to that episode in the description below. I found the Relink Media feature really useful for linking to files that have retained the folder structure of the original clips. However, if you've moved the clips between different folders, you might need to use a slightly different method to relink those files. Just right-click on a bin, select Relink Clips for selected bin, and choose the location where the media files are located. If Resolve can't find the files, you have the option of performing a comprehensive search. This will search within all the folders in the selected location, looking for the files, and reconnecting to them when they're found. Of course, problems can easily occur whenever you're copying files and relinking to clips. So instead of doing this manually, I recommend you use the Media Management feature. To open this feature, choose Media Management from the File menu. This allows you to work with the media for your entire project, specific timelines, or selected clips, and will allow you to copy or transcode any media based on this selection. For this episode, I'm just going to be concentrating on the copying function rather than the transcode, which can be used to convert your files into a different format. To copy all the media for your project, select Entire Project. Choose a location where you want the files to be copied to, and select Copy All Media. This option will let Resolve copy the media into a folder in the selected location with the current project name, and is very useful as you don't need to specify a specific folder for each project you're managing. If you want to preserve any subfolders the media is stored in, check this option to preserve folder hierarchy. Then you can also choose to automatically relink to the new files and click Start. This will copy the files and automatically relink the clips for the project to the new location. Again, depending on the size of the media being copied, this may take a while. Media management becomes really useful though when you don't need to copy all the media for your entire project, but just the clips that you're actually using. This time, instead of choosing all media, I'll choose used media. Immediately, you'll see the storage requirements change for this project from 19.3 gigabytes to 5.3 gigabytes. But you can often save even more storage space by choosing to copy just the parts of the clips that you're actually using. Choosing Use Media and Trim, keeping 1 second handles, reduces the storage requirements down to just 3.4 gigabytes. This is because this will just copy the portions of the clips actually used in any timelines in the project. The option for frame handles adds this number of frames to either side of the Use Media. Larger handles result in fractionally larger file sizes, as it means slightly more media is being copied. If you're trimming your media using this option, then I strongly recommend that you duplicate your project and relink to the new files, because this process can actually create unique file names. To make this easier though, you can enable the option Consolidate multiple edit segments into one file. Choosing this option copies the portion of the media between the furthest parts used, plus any handles, into one file using the original file name. This usually results in larger files, but makes manually relinking much easier, amongst other things. For archiving purposes though, you probably want to trim the media down to just the clips actually used within a specific timeline. For this, select the Timelines tab in Media Management, choose a location for the media, select the timelines that you want to manage, and select Use Media and Trim, allowing short handles on each clip. For this project, the trimmed media for the selected master timeline will only require 1.5 gigabytes of space instead of the 5 gigabytes that includes the unused media. So now I'll start the media management process. Once completed, the trimmed media is stored in the specified location, along with a DaVinci Resolve timeline or DRT file. Back in Resolve, creating a new project, I can import this timeline, which adds and relinks to the trimmed media automatically. This allows easy archiving in case I need to access this project's edited timeline in the future.